So you've thought that maybe you want to make the Temecula Valley your home, and again, the question is always, where in the Temecula Valley are you going to live? Which neighborhood is the best fit for you? So welcome again to our Neighborhood Spotlight series, where we tour all of the neighborhoods here in Murrieta, give you a great idea of the pros and the cons of each, things to look out for, and the things that should excite you about each neighborhood. So let's dive into our Copper Canyon Neighborhood Spotlight. So you're considering a move to the Temecula Valley, but the question is, where should I live? Which city should I live in? Which neighborhood should I live in? So here we are again with our Neighborhood Spotlight series, where we feature the pros, the cons, the things that should really get you excited about different neighborhoods here in the area. And today we are at Copper Canyon neighborhood in Murrieta. I can't wait to show it to you. Let's dig in. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Lewis, your local Temecula Valley realtor, and this channel is dedicated to all things Temecula Valley. It's my home, I love it, and I love to share it with you. Let's get into our Neighborhood Spotlight, Copper Canyon. Talk location. Copper Canyon is on the west side of Murrieta, tucked all the way up against the hills. It's your last stop before you enter some of the Santa Rosa Plateau into the La Cresta area, into Neha area. So this is as remote as you can get. It's on the less busy side of Murrieta, meaning that there's not a ton of traffic and you just have easy access to freeways and things all over. So let's start off with some of the pros. What's awesome about living here in Copper Canyon? First of all, this is an incredibly private and well-maintained neighborhood. Again, we're tucked up against the hills here on the slower side of Murrieta, so there's not a ton of traffic. The people driving through this neighborhood, they belong here because they live here. The next thing is that it's got incredible views. We are surrounded by nature, tucked right up against the hills, so you get some awesome views here, tons of elevation changes, so there's lots of lots that look out over the city lights of Murrieta, so it's got some great views and some great opportunity to take advantage of things there. Another little tip that I would share with you that is absolutely fun about this neighborhood is their leaf streets. These streets are known for their incredible Halloween celebration every single year. If you've got little kids, that is exactly where you want to take them for their Halloween trick-or-treating, because the streets are packed. There are tons of kids. Every house participates, decorates really well. And obviously, if a neighborhood comes together like that to celebrate Halloween together, you can trust that this is a neighborhood that has a ton of fun together. Now let's talk about some of the things you might consider before you make a move here to Copper Canyon. Some may say that these are some cons, but as I said in the pros, this is an area with great exclusivity, great privacy, tucked up against the hills. But for some people, that's a little bit of a concern. In California, we do have fires, and so there's potential for hillsides and all of that to catch on fire, and it could be a concern for you. Just something to be aware of. I also talked about how there's great views and great nature around here. Well, with nature comes some of those critters that come with nature. And so you may see a coyote or two. So if you live here in the neighborhood, you just want to make sure that you're keeping those animals and those pets of yours safe. And last but not least, because of the remote location, you're just a little bit further from stores. There is a Ralph's shopping center with a Ralph's and a CVS and a Subway and a Starbucks. So you've got all of the necessities pretty close to you. But if you're looking to get to the mall or any of the other major shops, it's going to be a little bit more of a drive, but some would say the views are worth it. Next up, let's talk prices and size of homes. So as you know on these videos, I don't quote specific prices because, as we all know, those are changing all the time, and I don't know when you're going to be watching this. But for the Murrieta average, this is slightly higher to high price point for Murrieta, depending on the size of home. Now, the size of homes here in the area go from 1,350 square feet all the way up to 4,200. So there are several different subsections of the Copper Canyon neighborhood, so the homes can vary greatly in size, which gives you a great option. I love neighborhoods where you can come in with a starter home at 1,300 square feet and continue to move your way up and then move back down as you need to simplify things. So it's a great neighborhood for those things. But again, on the price side, mid-price range, slightly higher than mid-price range. And then again, if you're gonna buy a 4,200 square foot home, it's gonna be on the higher price range for Murrieta. Next up, let's talk schools. Assigned schools here for elementary, you've got Cole Canyon Elementary. That's a great, highly desirable school on the great schools ranking, getting a 7 on that scale. Next up, you've got Thompson Middle School, which hits a 6 on the Great Schools ranking. And you've got Murrieta Valley High School, known for some of the famous athletes that they've produced, and that hits an 8 on the Great Schools ranking. Next up, I like to talk about property taxes. This one's important because, as you know, Murrieta and Temecula, the whole Temecula Valley, can vary greatly in your property taxes, which can affect your monthly payment quite a bit from month to month. So for the property taxes here, you've got a 1.2% to a 1.7% range. Again, that changes a bit because, as I've mentioned, you can cross a street here in the area and it can absolutely change your tax range. Now, it's some are on the lower side because they've had some bonds and special assessments fall off, and some are on the higher side because there's some newer construction here in the neighborhood. As I mentioned, there's a few different subsections to the Copper Canyon neighborhood, and they were built in different years, which causes the variation in tax rates. The next piece we like to talk about is HOA. Is there a homeowners association assigned to Copper Canyon? Believe it or not, there is not, which will absolutely surprise you as you do some exploring around here in the area. You will realize it is incredibly well maintained, and there's no HOA that enforces that. As a side note, I will mention that there is actually a dormant HOA here, which means that there was provision to put one in place initially when the neighborhood was built, but nothing has ever been formed. So nothing officially in place, potentially something that could come into place, but we've heard no talks about that here in the recent years. That's it for some of our highlights of the Copper Canyon neighborhood. As I mentioned, this is a great community, great views. You've got a lot of amenities. We just took a stroll through the Copper Canyon Lower Park, which has baseball fields, hiking trails. This is actually part of a 16-mile trail that takes you from Temecula into Lake Elsinore. You pass right here through the park, so kind of a cool adventure you can take there. You've got those trails, you've got the baseball fields. There's a ton to do. The elementary school is located right in the heart of the neighborhood, so it's almost walking distance for anybody that lives inside of Copper Canyon. And your middle school and your high school are close by as well. It's a very tight-knit community, definitely one of my favorites. We've sold tons of homes here in the area, and our clients absolutely rave about the neighborhood. So I hope you enjoyed today's tour. As always, if you did, hit that like button. Leave us a comment below about any questions you might have about moving to Copper Canyon, moving to Murrieta, California, the Temecula Valley in general. I would love to answer those for you. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future neighborhood spotlight tours. We'll see you next time.